have some idea of what I was going to say. Some thoughts that I had a while ago, so they're not super fresh in my mind, but I saw the show called Pride and Prejudice. Probably, I guess, based off of some, novel, classic novel. But it was a pretty good show. Had Colin Firth. I don't remember the name of the female actress lead in that movie, but she did a really great job, and she had a lot of charisma. But sort of what struck me about it was how like the aristocracy, what is there left to do once you have like a lot of time, and you have, it's like, what do these wealthy people do, like when they just spend most of their days doing whatever it is they want because they have dominion over the peasants or whatever, like whatever their source of income is. The point is that the aristocracy has a lot of time, and so how do they preoccupy themselves with that time? And so what I kind of like, the kind of hypothesis that I came to by, sort of observing, this, historical fiction was that, because they have a lot of leisure time to spend, they spend a lot of time thinking about matchmaking. They think a lot about, what is going to be a good match, what is going to be a suitable match. Like when they talk, like amongst each other, they're always like talking about like, who's gonna marry who, and like, is it a suitable, is it gonna be a suitable connection? Is it gonna be a suitable marriage? Are the two people, are they good? Are they like enough from the same status as the other? And so it's like, and then like the language, that the aristocracy uses becomes more and more sophisticated. And the female lead, she does this, like she does a really good job of presenting how you can have a conversation with someone at a, like, sort of like a, I don't know, I guess what they call it, like some kind of ballroom party or something. When a bunch of wealthy people get together and have their little get-togethers. So, that she could have like these sort of intense interchanges without it looking particularly emotional from the outside, but like they're like the actual words that are said can be extremely like cutting and like kind of just kind of a lot is said in the subtext and through implication, and it's socially acceptable. It's like the rules of engagement. In war, the rules of engagement means that there's certain ways that we rules that we have that we don't cross when we fight. Even the enemy, we don't go to certain lengths, because that would be ignoble and dishonorable, or a crime against humanity. And so like there's these rules of engagement essentially that you can see the aristocracy has, and it's because it's like they've had so much time, they have so much leisure time on their hands. The thing that concerns them is making good matches, and then like creating a sophisticated language around having conversations that involve this subject. And they have all their complex sort of, it's like, why do they come up with all these ceremonies, and like why do they come up with like etiquette on how to like hold a fork correctly, or how to hold a teacup correctly? It's because they have so much time to just like invent rules to make sort of as a challenge, because without, if you got a lot of time, you want things to be dramatic, and you want there to be you want there to be sort of a story, and you want things to sort of judge the people around you by. And so you come up with all these rules that people sort of have to like figure out how to like, how to engage with the rules, and then how to artfully break the rules, because every social game involves breaking the rules. And like we always want somebody who knows, like the thing that turns us on as human beings is people who artfully bend the rules or break the rules when they know that it's the right thing to do, and when they are able to do it in a artful and graceful way that like almost makes everyone sort of forgive that person immediately, because they're like, oh yeah, because that was in my heart too, like we all kind of want to. But someone who's just like a bull in the china shop who breaks the rules, like that's just some fucking creep. That's just like some fucking person who has no impulse control, and we don't respect that person because they can't really help it. They don't break the rules when it's necessary. They break the rules when it suits them, and because they just don't have much sophistication. So breaking the rules, I think that is sort of one of the like things that is something that that we need to, that's like something that we have to figure out. Those of us who are very, we tend to like, I don't know, read into things, we take them literally, and we like sort of want to do our best to be noble like human beings, and we want to like be we want to be stand-up people, but there's a lot of times when we have to, when we get ourselves into situations where we realize, the script, it's sort of like, it's there for, it does serve like some function, but at the same time, it's not always something that, that sometimes we have to like risk our own reputation. We have to risk, we have to risk making other people look at us in a light that is unflattering, because what is in our hearts is more important. And in order to get what we want, we kind of have to figure out how to move forward and be very creative in how we approach the game, the game of life. in order to like have, because at a certain point we realize, oh shit, I'm running out of time. I've been living by all these rules. I've been trying to please the world around me to, try to live like a good person, but eventually you realize, oh shit, I have to like start writing my own script, because this shit, if I follow the etiquette, it's gonna lead to like a miserable life. It's gonna lead to me looking back on my life and being like, oh man, I just wasted my entire life trying to like appeal to try to be a good person by these standards, and then it turned out that I just, I never really followed what was in my own heart, and it just is a major, reminder that, I needed to like find the courage in myself to like figure out what it really means to be who I am, and what if there are values, what are the values that are inside of me? What are the values that live inside of me? What is it that I feel? What makes me feel like the right thing was done? It's not enough to just do the right thing that we're taught to do. We want to do the right thing that is in ourselves. And so, yeah, I think that, just sort of studying like these aristocrats from, other times, it's kind of interesting, because each time, each era has sort of its, rules on how to approach life, how to approach relationships. There's always different rules, but in the end, it always like, in the end, it always comes down to, what is it in our hearts that we want? And we can't really follow any path that has been walked before us, and we kind of have to break the chains and really just become a human being again, and not this person who's just been indoctrinated by the culture. We have to remember, I am a human being. What is my purpose here? And you're not going to find your purpose by looking to other people's etiquettes and how they hold teacups. You have to find it in yourself to see what really matters. And it's the voice of the heart is tricky to listen to, because it doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak any language here on earth. It speaks in the language of feeling, and we can only approximate what that means in terms of words. So, but paying attention to the feeling makes us more aware of what it is. We have to like sort of live in a country in order to understand the people, their ways, and their language. And if we never spend time in the country of our feelings, how could we become good citizens of that country? So it's a different, it's a different language that we need to learn, is to learn how to listen to what is in our emotional body, in our, literally, their sensations. It's like, it's not just emotions that, I'm talking about that are somewhere in your head. No, there's actual feelings, literal sensations, like a pinprick is a feeling. Well, there's feelings in our hearts, like literal feelings. There's like feelings in our hearts, there's feelings in our bellies, there's actually feelings in our throats, there's feelings in our heads sometimes. And those aren't thoughts. They might be generated by thoughts, or reinforced by thoughts, but we have to like kind of be with them to figure out where they came from. Did they come from a real place inside of me that is a real need that needs to be met, or is it some circle in my brain, a circle of thoughts that I continue to repeat that makes these sensations in my body continue to fire over and over again, and is like coaxing me into making choices that are not the right choices for me. So yeah, just like figuring out how to live in that country, live in the country of the heart, live in the country of feelings, so that you can become more familiar with those people, those people that live inside of you, that community, that divine family, your spirit family kind of like lives inside of you, and it resonates inside of you, and it's like there's a conversation happening in our bodies, and we kind of have to like start listening and putting our senses on it to know what is going on with it. Anyhow, so yeah, just sort of clearing my mind by speaking here. Try to do it on a fairly regular basis to continue to manifest my inner realm into the external world and put it out there in some kind of way that perhaps causes some ripples to create, because what I'm trying to do is achieve more like inner peace and harmony in myself, and I feel like as I do that, it inherently creates more inner peace in the world, because I'm sort of like processing the conversation that is happening on a meta level in the world inside of my body. But then by taking the extra step of speaking out loud, and then speaking out loud and putting it on the camera, for the public, I think that creates, it adds, it compounds on the perhaps the positive energy that I'm trying to create in the world. So anyhow, I'm going to leave it here. Have a good one.